The RIAI is delighted to present the 2021 award winners. Despite the challenges imposed by the pandemic, we received 144 entries, and from these, the jury selected a shortlist and awards. The quality of submissions was exceptionally high and demonstrates the value that Irish architects are adding to all aspects of the built environment, thereby supporting Ireland's economic and social infrastructure. Awards are made over a number of categories, and the RIAI Awards offer a fascinating insight into current architectural practice in Ireland. We will unveil the winners shortly, following an address by the RIAI President, Ciarán O'Connor.
Hello and welcome to the RIAI Annual Awards. We're celebrating Irish architecture today. All the projects you see have the watermark of quality in them. And a watermark is something that you see when you give scrutiny and when you consider things in detail. And that's what is required to look at these projects. It's not just nice photographs of pleasant buildings. The buildings are doing things beyond their basic function, beyond their basic technology, beyond their basic aims of the architect or the client. And what good architecture does, it gives something back to the community in which it's in. To do architecture, you need government support, client support, the various different people who have the client role to play. And that is important, and people need the money to do that. They need to have the ambition to do it. And as a country, as Ireland comes out of its teenage years, as I would call it, we have to mature and be more sophisticated going forward. And architecture's role in that becomes more and more significant. So Irish architecture has come of age, and what we now need to do is maintain that standard going forward. The RIAI Awards are in their 32nd year. And besides that longevity, what they also bring to it is they give exemplars rather than just standard issue ways of responding to clients' needs. So they have the ambition of the client, and that ambition rhymes with the ability of the architect in the best of the projects shown today. We had almost 150 submissions this year under all the different categories. And what was interesting was that the COVID impact was quite minimal because projects were on site, and while they were disrupted, work did continue when things on site allowed them to do so. And the result of that is that we have a significant amount of high quality projects over all parts of the country, from Carlingford to west of Ireland, from Donegal down to Cork, and all of significance in the category that each addresses. The awards also have a significant number of categories, and the reason they have that is because of the breadth of the work that architects do. So you're going from public space type projects to houses, to house extensions, to universities, and everything in between. Importantly, social housing as well. So, and there are very good examples of that contained within this year's awards. What struck me this year, because every year has a sort of a different slight twist to it, was the number of projects with adaptive reuse. And that's begun to become more and more important as time goes by because of the whole reduction in embodied carbon that we need to look at from a green perspective, but also too of what's a future for our past architecture. And there's many very good examples contained here today. I'd also like to mention the social housing. We have very good schemes from the north of Ireland and from Cork and many other projects in between. But they show that ideology has no place in providing basic human rights. And that shows that local authorities taking the initiative are to be encouraged and complimented for doing so. The international category is interesting because we have projects happening in London, and people might say, well, that's normal enough, and we do have architects in Ireland practicing throughout Europe. But also there's a major university project from the Punjab in north of India, which is an exceptional project of significant scale carried out by an Irish practice. I'd like to thank all the architects who submitted schemes for judging into this year's award, but also thank the jury who looked at it. And the jury was led by Micheál Dashún, Vice President of the Institute, and they carried out their work in an exemplary manner, in a fair, open and clear way of doing things, and the way all awards should be done. So I'd like to thank them for their duty of care and for putting in the effort in the background to give us the results that we now are showing today. I'd also like to thank the sponsors of the different awards. They make everything possible. They are significant in the process of providing the finance and the ability for us to make these awards available to the public, and for that I thank them. I'm personally looking forward to finding out the results of the deliberations by the committee on the award side and the results. So with that, without further ado, let's see what the results are.
The Student Hub is a sensitive and crafted intervention at the heart of University College Cork. Through a process of careful conservation, adaptation and reuse, the architects have transformed the existing building and reconfigured its setting within a landscape of quadrangles, courtyards and squares. The UCC Student Hub is conceived with great freedom. Respecting the simple form and craft of the existing building, it integrates effortlessly within the campus, while affirming its own unique identity. The project speaks to one of architecture's most pressing challenges, the conservation of our limited resources through greater and more intelligent forms of adaptation, and reuse of our often underutilised historic buildings. The Swiss Cottage is a delightful project on the Lochrin estate in Mohill, County Leitrim. It revitalises and secures the future of a 19th century hunting lodge as a comfortable 21st century home. Employing the skills of local craftspeople, its sensitive repair and painstaking reinstatement ensures that the building's character and special interest are retained, thereby contributing to more than the character of its setting. The project demonstrates a keen understanding and appreciation of the value of our architectural heritage. Empathetic conservation sensibilities and techniques have resulted in a beautifully crafted project that is the essence of sustainability. Donegal Garda Station stands out for its laconic civic presence and its no-nonsense adaptation of the spatial culture of a thriving historic town. Its architecture embraces the functions of the local Garda Station. The solid reconditioned original building has been opened up to the public on the pavement facing the street and quay, while a lightly framed but protected southwest facing working wing wraps around. It overlooks the entrance to the backland car park, whose edges are evolving beyond the yards and the coach houses at the rear of the Diamond in Donegal. This building demonstrates that thoughtful architecture can quietly and carefully edify our everyday culture with sustainable civic buildings. From the striking silhouette and massing of the stone-clad outcrops, to the considered choreography of the cuts between to make a generous landscape of open spaces, the Par University was greatly admired by the jury as an exceptional piece of architecture. The section is rich in light, volume and delight. The relationships between inside and outside, at times loosely defined and indeed conscious of the local climactic requirements, are enjoyed for their generosity. The apparent material restraint of massing gives way to a delicate and thoughtful treatment of building envelope and lining, again highly tuned to the local context. Scoil Eve Weary is a school that is simultaneously playful and poised, restrained and exuberant in its design and its making. This school extension carefully draws light and air into the plan and section of the new building, animating the interface of circulation, social spaces and the prescribed Department of Education classroom brief. The architects have mastered their restricted material palette to make an envelope that extends and folds the roof and walls together to form a deep continuous eaves, embracing the grounds around the classrooms. The school community is welcomed beneath a sheltering wing, both indoors and outdoors. Baldrasna House, an extension to an existing farmstead ruin, looks to embrace our innate memory, causing us to reflect on our built heritage and the interaction of newly built structures with it. This home is crafted with simplicity of form and materials to harmonise within a rural setting. The farmstead ruin has been repurposed as an entry courtyard and its integrity has been protected for future generations. This is a project that redefines a way to think about our existing rural vernacular structures. The jury enjoyed the relaxed approach of the massing of House for a Gardener and its connection between inside and outside, which it considered both playful and thoughtful. The warm palette of materials deployed in a relaxed manner between inside and outside, and in between, were also appreciated. This student housing project successfully improves and reimagines a building type that has become generic and formulaic in recent years. The jury was impressed with how the scheme relates to the river, its wider urban context in terms of permeability, scale, form and materiality. The removal of the cores from the building and the creation of a generous glazed links is also central to the success, creating an architectural event out of what are usually dark internal corridors. The use of these devices did not come at the expense of density or efficiency, as the design solution maximises the potential of an important site, which is part of a wider urban regeneration plan. This is a calm and dignified solution which preserves and enhances the character of King John's Castle and its coastal setting. The new interventions are masterfully handled in terms of how they quietly and deferentially weave through the historic structure. The jury commend how the works provide physical and visual accessibility of all levels of disability to areas which were previously inaccessible. King John's Castle combines a carefully chosen and finely crafted palette of materials with the sensitive curation of contemporary interventions. Necessity is the mother of invention, and these works are a physical manifestation of this. That a project of this scale was realised in such a successful manner in such a short period of time is a testament to the hard work and ingenuity of the client and project team. In identifying and grasping an opportunity arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, the project team has realised highly transformative social and economic benefits for large populations spread across significant geographic areas. The jury enjoyed how the project can continually adapt to changing needs and the ongoing feedback from communities and businesses. These interventions play a hugely important role in generating public awareness and eliciting debate on the social and economic value of space in our town centres. This collaborative research project by Queen's University Belfast and John McLaughlin Architects addresses how to conserve social and architectural ideas inherent in 20th century modernism. The research team developed an innovative multi-strand post-occupancy evaluation method encompassing historical, fabric, social and environmental investigations to closely examine St Brendan's Community School in Birr, County Offaly, a school designed by Peter and Mary Doyle in 1974. A comprehensive communication strategy supported the research. Keeping it modern develops a new approach to conservation of 20th century architecture. It will inform any future interventions in St Brendan's and has the potential to influence the conservation of other schools and 20th century buildings in Ireland and internationally. This building is an excellent example of urban reuse and development, constructing a new wing onto an existing facility to produce a building of high architectural merit. The building fabric and orientation was well designed to take advantage of natural light and heat loss, and the materials were well considered. The systems used in the building represented an innovative use of standard technology based on a publicly funded budget and government procurement. Overall, it is a sensitive solution which has a very positive impact on its setting. This carefully crafted and beautifully executed pavilion-type building is sensitively situated and seamlessly integrated into its parkland setting. The considered choice and restrained use of materials such as wood, glass and limestone, and the awareness of the positive elements of sight and orientation combine to create a beautiful sequence of outdoor and indoor spaces, volumes and views. A potentially unpromising workplace environment has been skillfully transformed through clever architecture and design thinking. Using an economy of means, a repetitive internal diagonal timber structure yields a series of translucent light-filled spaces which are conducive to teaching and learning. The design is supported by a well-judged colour palette. North Dock is a fine piece of work, establishing an exemplar riverfront typology for North Wall Quay. Cleverly, it employs architectural devices of layering and depth to solve the adverse workplace aspects of direct sunlight, while exploiting its magic to capture deep shadows which are enhancing the lively yet controlled river elevation. Internally, light flows centrally and from the edges. At street level, a gallery, cafe and planted courtyard speak of generosity and acknowledge the city. We hope you have enjoyed the 2021 RIAI Awards. You will find more information on the RIAI website, riai.ie, including the full 2021 award shortlist and projects selected by the jury for exhibition.